Welcome back to Saturday Hashmarks. My name is Brian, also known as Trojan Bias on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And if you're not following, go hit that follow button. What are you doing? Hit the follow button. Nick, quickly becoming my favorite part of the week, recording this show. We got some things to talk about, actually quite a bit to talk about. And that's what we got blue balled twice this weekend. Twice in a row. Indiana barely survives against Penn State 27-24. My two notes on this game is that Mendoza sucked until the last 2-minute drive, made some good throws, and then an incredible catch on that touchdown. And if we're going to say it's an incredible catch, I feel like it's fair to say it was a great call on the field. We give officials plenty of backlash when they mess up. I think it's fair to give Josh Dasher great call on that. We're over here getting excited about refs making good calls. So incredible call on that, but incredible catch on that. Not the best throw. I mean, Mendoza was kind of going back and threw it up to where only his guy could get it, and his guy came down with it. So,
As a quarterback, that's all you can do. I mean, give your guy a shot and don't give the other team a shot.
it was a throw that there really wasn't another option. He was under heavy pressure. I think he died when he got hit on that play. But
It's a hell of a
I mean,
play.
But Penn State is bad. Like, we know Penn State is bad this year,
They're
and they have their backup quarterback, and their backup quarterback
yeah,
actually had a shot to win the game or at least tie the game going to overtime. Overthrows the receiver by like 10 feet. Terrible throw. Um, but yeah, I don't think anyone saw a close game between these two schools.
yeah. I mean, I didn't think I thought Indiana would beat them by like 10 or so, but I Penn State's got guys. They just didn't mesh well as a team, but they have guys. They still got Singleton and Katron Allen on offense, and they've got a good defense. So it didn't really surprise me too much that it was close. I am pretty surprised that Penn State almost won, but Indiana did show that they have some flaws, but
Yeah,
survive and advance.
I I don't know if I'm quite ready to say that Indiana is fraudulent,
No, I
but
don't
they're
think so.
fraudish. They're
They could
fraudish.
be.
I don't think that this team would. I think that they would get beat pretty bad by Ohio State if they played. I think
I
A
think
and M
most teams
probably
would.
beats them as well. I agree. Most teams would. I think A and M would win. I mean, you might even say Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss would win. But I think Indiana definitely has some cracks. Like you said, Penn State does have some dudes. Absolutely has some dudes. They were ranked number 2 in the preseason for a reason. Um, and Franklin's a bad coach. Like, Franklin was a bad coach to get them past that level. Great program builder, can't get it done at a high level. And like you said, the team doesn't mesh well together. But it looks like things might be clicking. If you're a Nittany Lion fan, this is a huge game going forward. Like, this game should give you a lot of hope that they hire the right coach and they will absolutely not be a full rebuild. It'll be a reload.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Penn State will be attractive in that way, just because it's the Big Ten and all that. Uh, but I want to give a shout out before we move on to the next thing. Gus Johnson on that touchdown catch, and throughout the whole game, just losing his mind. And it's literally sounded like he lost his voice on that touchdown.
Gus Johnson, I agree with you. Gus Johnson gets an absurd amount of hate, and he is one of my favorite announcers. One of my favorite calls is the "What do you got?" while he's scrambling, and Gus Johnson makes games exciting. Like, Gus Johnson makes games excited, exciting. I love Gus Johnson. I am not ever upset when USC is on Fox and Gus Johnson's on the call, and I'm never upset when I'm watching a game with Gus Johnson. I absolutely love Gus Johnson. He gets an
Yep,
absurd amount of hate for no reason.
he's electric.
He is. And like you said, he just starts throwing words out during big plays too. And let's be honest, we all do that. You know how
Mm-hmm.
many random words we just randomly will yell out that don't actually make sense in a big moment? A ton. So I'm with you. I'm gonna give a shout out. I'm gonna piggyback your shout out. Shout out Gus Johnson. But then we got blue balled again. Just a few short hours later, and this is a
Yep.
game. Me and you did say this was going to be a close game. Uh, Oregon beats Iowa 18-16. Now, if I told you that Iowa game was decided by a safety on a punt, you would not have thought that Oregon was the one that had the safety. That Iowa had a bad snap on a punt, go through their end zone, and great play by the punter to just hit it out of bounds there. But that was really the difference on the game, was a bad snap into the end zone that the punter smartly hits out of bounds. Iowa got Iowa'd by Oregon. But there was a few surprising things during this game, and that one is that Iowa out passed Oregon, and that is crazy. Like, Iowa is known for being a run team and then a special teams in defense. Like, they are not known for passing. I don't know if I didn't realize that they knew what the forward pass was in Kinnick Stadium.
Well, I mean, I don't think we should give Iowa's offense credit. I think Iowa's defense deserves the credit for that, because
Iowa's
they only
defense
threw for
does
like
deserve the
120
credit.
yards. But
they did not. You are right. They didn't. They didn't like have. It's not like they went and had like a master class in the air, 300 yards or anything. But they did outpass Oregon.
yeah. But yeah, I want to piggyback on that safety. As soon as that happened early, knowing how bad Iowa's offense was, I knew that was going to bite Iowa in the ass. I knew that was going to cost them. And lo and behold, they lost by 2.
Yeah, that's the difference in the game right there. Pulling up the stats. So yeah, Mark Gronowski, sick Iowa last name right there. That is an Iowa quarterback if I've ever heard one. Goes 10 for 18, 138 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, you might be thinking, if you haven't seen that, how did they outpass Oregon? Because Dante Moore sucked it up. 13 for 21, 112 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. But on the flip side, Oregon did outrush Iowa. Noah Whittingham for Oregon, 17 carries, 118 yards, no touchdowns. Obviously, not very many touchdowns were to be had in this game. And then for Iowa, Kamari Moulton, 23 carries, 87 yards, their leading rusher. So, weird game. And I don't know what this says about Oregon going forward. I think maybe this is a beatable Oregon team. Obviously, Indiana beat them. But I think this is probably the worst Oregon team we've seen in a while. Granted, it was Kinnick Stadium, and there's the weird Kinnick aura going on. It was at night, and night games at Kinnick are also also have that weird aura. And then Iowa's a good football team. Like, Iowa lost to Indiana by 5. Iowa's not a bad football team. But I do think Oregon looked very, very, very beatable in their last couple of games going forward.
No, I agree. Oregon's definitely beatable. I think if they squeak by USC, I think they'll slide into the playoff, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So their last 3 games are Minnesota, USC, and Washington, and I see 2 losable games on that last 3 for Oregon, based off what we saw this week.
But yeah, I want to say Dante Moore, he did play pretty shitty, but that final drive, he made 2 throws that one of them was dropped, the other one was a catch. They're just NFL throws. You could see why he's projected to be a first-round pick. And, I mean, he looked pretty good on that last drive when they needed it.
That was a good throw. I know which one you're talking about. That was a good throw, don't get me wrong. But if the DB just turns his head, that thing's picked. That was also a bad play by the DB. Remember the one down the sideline?
I mean, Rodgers has tons of passes where the DB's got his hands right there, guarding, and he's just not turned around and slides it right in.
And Brett Favre, was the total gunslinger, going to throw 2 picks a game, but there's nothing that doesn't disqualify you as an NFL quarterback. It was a good throw. Iowa, though, had a chance to win the game on that play, and they did not. But yeah, I think that this is a very beatable Oregon team for the remainder of their schedule. But we also had some other big games. Obviously, we talked about Texas Tech and BYU and how this is probably going to be a preview of the Big 12 championship game. Texas Tech obviously going into the game with 1 loss because they had their backup quarterback in that loss. BYU undefeated but scraping by teams. And yeah, like you said, Texas Tech dominated. And it wasn't even like their offense was dominant. It's not like Baron Morton went through for 400 yards. He game managed. They scored 29. He game managed. I don't think he threw for 300 yards, but their defense shut Bear Bachmeyer down.
Yep. Yeah, it was all about the Tech running game. Dickey, Williams, they had 36 carries combined, 198 yards. Uh, I mean, and then to go off what you said with the Tech defense against Bachmeyer, I think that's kind of what it's going to look like when BYU faces a good team. And if they
Yeah,
get into the playoff, they're going to score 7 points, 10 points, and get bounced first round.
I agree. I think I don't think Texas Tech loses a game for the rest of the season. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't think that BYU will lose another game for the rest of the season, though. So I do think these two teams will end up matching up against each other. Now, BYU and Cincinnati, I could see
be a good
Cincinnati
game.
be a good game. I could see Cincinnati winning that game and jumping BYU, but I still think BYU should be the favorite to win that game. And I think that we're going to see a repeat of what we saw this week, in the Big 12 championship. I don't know if BYU will get in. If they have two losses to Texas Tech, I don't know if they get in. I think they
Yeah,
might, but it's a question mark for me.
I think, yeah, I mean, they could slide. Yeah, I
They
mean,
could
it's between
definitely,
BYU or if Utah wins out or something like that, or someone
yeah.
in the ACC keeps winning.
I wouldn't be shocked if only one, and we can get into this a little bit later, but I wouldn't be shocked if only one Big 12 team makes it. I think one ACC team
Yeah,
makes it. I wouldn't be shocked if just Texas Tech, if they win out, win the conference championship, makes it. I think Texas Tech makes it if they lose the conference championship game. I don't think they make it if they win. I don't think a second team makes it if they win the conference championship game.
I agree.
Um, there's a lot going on with the college football playoff polls and different scenarios, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Again, I asked this last week. Does anybody want to win the ACC? I don't think they do. They're having a lose off every single week. We had two big losses this week in the ACC, and Georgia Tech was on a bye, so they didn't have a good win, obviously. Virginia lost to, well, start here. Louisville, a forgivable loss, I should say. Cal's a good team. They lose to Cal 29-26 in overtime. Not super surprised by that. Virginia, though, loses to Wake Forest, who they are terrible.
Yeah,
16
but
to 9.
Virginia's quarterback got knocked out early.
That is true. That is true. But I would think that their backup quarterback would be better than would be able to beat Wake Forest.
Yeah,
And for the standings going forward, this puts Georgia Tech right back in first. A few weeks ago, it was like, wow, Georgia Tech loses. Teams could pass them now. What's going to happen? Did Georgia Tech just throw their season away? And no, because then Virginia and Louisville threw their seasons away. And now you have Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Pitt, all with one. Oh, and I should say SMU and Duke,
yeah.
all with one loss. So it is a very up for grabs conference. Georgia Tech is still in the lead based on strength of schedule. And then Virginia, Pitt, SMU, Duke. I wouldn't be shocked if Virginia loses another game and Pitt slides in, or somehow SMU slides in.
Pitt, Pitt's got a Pitt's got a good path.
Pitt has a good path. They do play Georgia Tech,
Yeah,
so they would have to win that game. But besides that, it's doable to still sneak into the ACC championship game for Pitt. And then SMU though is kind of interesting. SMU has two games they should win. Ironically enough, is Louisville and Cal, which means if Georgia Tech beats Pitt, Virginia drops another game. Like SMU has a very real possibility. They need outside help, but they have a very real possibility of sneaking in too.
yeah.
And that's another thing going against the ACC right now is there's no clear-cut second best team, which isn't going to help them get a second team into the conference or into the college football
hmm
playoff.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, yeah, I don't think Louisville has a chance. I don't think Miller Moss is good enough to win the big game. Uh, Coming from a USC fan, I just don't think he's. I don't think he's
Miller
good
Moss
enough.
and I will root for Miller Moss. Miller Moss was a true Trojan. He could have transferred out when Caleb came in. He said, "I'll wait. I want to be a Trojan." Grew up a Trojan. Um,
Yeah, I just don't think he's good enough. Good story.
Good story. He's a game manager. He is not a I'm gonna give you the ball and you go win a game.
Yeah. But Cal's quarterback, JKS, I'm not going to try to pronounce his full name, but he's a dog. Threw for 323 yards, 2 tuds. That fool's not going to be at Cal next year. He's
No,
getting a
no, no, no,
bag from
no.
someone in the Power Four,
Yes, yes,
and
he
he's
is.
going to
He
be
is.
electric.
Yeah, he was. He will not be at Cal. And Cal's such a weird place because it's like their academics hates their sports programs and their sports programs hates their academics. I mean, they go by two different names depending on if you're talking academics or talking sports. Obviously, going by Cal in sports, but we're going by UC Berkeley for academics. And I
Yeah.
remember we know someone who went to Cal to play football, and I remember somebody else that we know. I'm not going to throw first and last name out. Had asked me about it. That he did not play football. Had asked me, oh, where's Gabe gonna go? And I was like, oh, I think he's gonna go to Cal. That's like, I don't think he hasn't signed, but that's where he's committed to and where he wants to go. And he's like, what do you mean Cal? And I was like, Cal? I was like, you mean UC Berkeley? Like that's what I keep hearing was UC Berkeley. And like he could not comprehend that Cal and UC Berkeley were the same place. And I was like, dude, literally side of their helmet, Cal. Go look at
Yeah.
any ESPN, Cal. Like that's what they go by for in sports. So weird place for Cal, just not caring about sports whatsoever. Um, Also, though, jumping over now to the ACC. I mean the SEC. We just did the ACC. The SEC. A&M. Another game where people go, this is the week. This is the week A&M loses, and they dominated Mizzou. And I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think it's. I think it's a very fair thing to say they might be the best team in the SEC.
I agree. I think I think they're in the same tier as Ohio State.
I'm
They
starting to think that. I said earlier in the year that Ohio State was head and tails better than everybody else. I think A&M is up there. I think
mhm.
A&M is in that same tier with Ohio State. They are good, and it's not even like they're putting up a ton of points and it's a shootout. No, their defense is good too.
Yep. They're bullying you on offense by running the rock. They play good defense. I mean, Mizzou ran the ball pretty well, but that's what Mizzou does is run the rock. Zollers didn't look good at all. I think he
No,
was like 9 of
no.
22 or something like that.
Yeah, and
But
I thought
I think you
Zollers
could.
would.
Go ahead.
I thought he would play better than he did last week. Getting thrown in mid game. But on the flip side, Vanderbilt didn't have any film, or 2 weeks ago, Vanderbilt didn't have any film on him. So that definitely will play a part. But he did not prepare like I thought he would. Not that he didn't put the effort in. I don't know Matt
Yeah,
Zollers. He could have been studying up all night, putting the effort in. I should say I thought he would look better having 2 weeks to prepare.
yeah, I agree. But I think we can book A&M into the SEC championship game. I think they
I
still
do.
lose to Texas, but I
Okay.
think I think that they're still going to get into the SEC championship
I
game.
think they'll get in. I think they go undefeated. I know a lot of people are thinking they're going to lose to Texas. I don't hate that take at all. I could see that happening. I just think A&M is the better team. Um,
Hmm.
but also in that conference, speaking of the second team that they'll play in the SEC championship, Bama beats LSU 20-9, and my biggest takeaway is that LSU's problems were not just Brian Kelly.
Nope.
This this
Bad
this
offense.
bad offense, and I Newsmeyer was supposed to come in, win a Heisman, take him to the college football playoff, and he has not played well at all. Whatever, he has not played what has not played good whatsoever. What I meant to say there, has
Yeah,
not
I
played good whatsoever.
I can't believe that he was talked about as a first round pick, let alone like a number one overall pick. He looks bad. And I
Is
don't know if it's
he?
just LSU's system or what, but he's regressed a lot.
I was not that impressed with him watching him play last year.
I
I
wasn't too
didn't
much
get
either.
the hype that he had, but I do think he's looked worse this year. I mean, he threw for
100%.
121 yards against Alabama, and then Michael Van Buren Jr. ended up coming in and getting 52 yards. So hasn't looked good. LSU, their season. It's been done, but it's done. They're not doing anything for the rest of the year. They're not even going to play that upset part. They're just going to go play their last couple of games and get dominated and look forward to whoever they hire. They're looking forward to their new hire.
Yep.
Um, and then obviously we got to talk about it. USC BTA's Northwestern 38-17. It was a close game in the first half. I think USC went into halftime up 21-14. But there's one thing that I really want to talk about with this game, and that is what, if you have been on Twitter, you have seen people talking about, and that's the Sam Heward fake punt. Now, if you don't know, USC's third string quarterback is Sam Heward, former 5-star quarterback, bounced around in college, hasn't lived up to the hype. 3 weeks ago, he switched to number 80. He's number 7. Was number 7. 3 weeks ago in that Notre Dame game, he switches to number 80. He has been on the official roster as number 80. Now, this was not like announced, it wasn't said. Nobody realized that he was number 80. He runs out to do a punt. Everyone thinks it's the punter, and he pulls it up and delivers a freaking strike that everybody is like, oh my god, the punter can throw like that, is what the thought was. And so for about 24 hours, we had people on Twitter, some people calling USC scumbags, Dave Portnoy included in that, still a little salty over that Michigan beat. And then a lot of USC fans, and then there were even some non-USC fans saying, hey, this is legal in college, you can wear the same number as long as they're not on the field at the same time. But then the Big Ten came out and clarified, let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought that as long as they weren't on the field at the same time and it was clarified beforehand, they put it in the game notes, they put it on the roster that his number was 80. And I mean, if you watch back the film too, Northwestern's their gunners and stuff, they're playing good coverage on those receivers too. So they were expecting it because they probably knew that he would go out there at some point.
I think Northwestern's coach said that said like hats off to Lincoln Riley and the Trojans for coming up with that. We should have noticed it. So where the Big Ten clarification comes in, and that is the Big Ten says that you can't have two players at any point in the game if they're not on the same field wearing two different number or wearing the same number line up in the same position. So they say what happened, and they say it's under Rule 9, Section 2, Article 2, called labeled unfair tactics, with paragraph D stating two players playing the same position may not wear the same number during the game. Now, what would have happened if what they are saying was true? Is that the Johnson, the punter, would have got, when he ran on the field to do a punt, they would have got flagged for 15 yards. The fake punt still would have counted because Johnson had not come in and established that number 80 spot as a punter. But here's my thing. Heward was never a punter. Heward never played the position of punter. He lined up like he was a punter, but he did not punt the ball. He played quarterback. And where do you draw that line of you can't stand more than 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage? Is that really how we're going to define a punter now? And so that's why it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people. A lot of people are saying that. And yeah, I think this is a classic case of the Big Ten not knowing what is going on.
Yeah, I mean, I have it down here. Should have been flagged or whatever, but screw it. It happened. We didn't get flagged. It worked. So
it's very, creative, smart play call by the USC offense or special teams unit, whatever you want to call that. Extra possession. Now, watching that live, obviously there, nobody knew that was Sam Heward, and I saw when they realized that it was Sam Heward later on the broadcast. I'm assuming you guys all thought that was the punter?
I thought it was the punter. I thought it was
the punter, I just thought they ran a fake punt. See, it didn't look like a great throw from my angle. Like, it looked like, I think it was it was a dot, dude. I saw the replay of that. It was a dot. But it didn't look like a great throw at first. But then it was cool because Heward did come on the field in garbage time wearing number 80. And it was really cool to see a quarterback wear number 80.
So I sat there and I So I kind of like stepped away from the game and noticed that number 80 was at quarterback, and I still hadn't figured out that Heward was the one that threw the fake punt. And I was like, what the hell is number 80 doing at quarterback? And I looked it up, and said it was Heward online, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, he must have just switched his number. And then it clicked, and I was like, oh, he's a lefty. Yeah,
Yeah.
duh. What the hell?
so, so the funny thing is, and this is another one of those where we should have put it together. So, my dad, we were sitting there, and he goes, "Oh, the punter's a lefty. That's cool because he's left-handed, so he always catches
Mm-hmm.
people being left-handed, and it's like, oh, that's cool." So he's like, "Oh, the punter's a lefty. That's cool." We knew Sam Heward was a lefty, and then I got the notification on my phone in the middle of the game, and I was like, "Yo, Dad, that fake punt, that was Heward." And he's like, "It was? He wasn't number 7." And I was like, "Yeah, they changed numbers." I thought they had put the big jersey on him, to be honest. I didn't realize he officially changed numbers.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's wild. But that aside, I mean, the run defense was pretty good. The pass defense was great. They locked down Northwestern in the passing game. Uh,
Yeah.
Jaden missed some throws, but still played good. And
Yeah,
should have been better though.
Jaden for sure missed some reads. So I think I was texting. Oh, I did text you about it, and I
Yeah.
told you. So where our seats are at, obviously, Nick, you know this. If you don't know this, our seats are right next to the tunnel in the end zone. So anything on that side, like we can see the whole play, the all 20. We have the all 22 view. We can see the play develop. Um, and Jaden was it was one drive in particular where he had like 3 different guys that he either were wide open and he checked it down or were wide open for a while before he found them and was super late with it. All three
Mm-hmm.
of those plays would have gone for touchdowns. So I do think that Jaden needs to read the field quicker. Um, because it was there was he left some points on the board doing that. Like I said, and one of them I locked in on Lemon wide open, and just never threw him the ball. They're kind of crossing routes actually, but yeah, Maeva does need to read the field a little bit better. But yeah, like you said, defense was good. Run defense was good. Run game was really good.
Yeah.
Um, I think that this team is a very good football team. You
I
take
think so.
away 2 road losses, and everyone's saying this is a great football team.
I agree. They got to go beat Oregon now. Beat Iowa this week. Beat Oregon next week.
Yep, beat Iowa this week, beat Oregon next week, beat UCLA. I think this team sneaks in.
Very well could.
All right, and it's kind of it on the recap for this week. I don't know, if there's anything you wanted to add to the recap from this past week. I do want to do something though. And we went over our top 12 last week and what we thought the college football playoff committee would where we thought they would put teams or what our top 12 would be. Let's take it a step further. Let's go full bracket this week. So, I'll let you go first.
All right. So my 5 championship game winners, so the automatic qualifiers, are Ohio State winning the Big Ten, A&M winning the SEC, Texas Tech winning the Big 12, Georgia Tech winning the ACC, and then I have USF winning the American, sneaking in as the 5th
Okay.
highest. So USF is my 12, Georgia Tech's the 11, and then at 10 I have BYU sneaking in. I
Okay.
have them not losing another game. I have them losing to Tech twice in the, but I don't see them
Yeah.
getting punished. Just like SMU didn't get punished for losing last year.
True. 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 True.
And then at 9 I have Notre Dame, and I feel like they just went out and teams in front of them lose. BYU, they just slide up in front of them. At 8 Oregon, and I have them right now at this point winning out, sliding in at 8. They won't play in the
I
Big
think
Ten
that's
championship game.
fair.
And then at 7, Ole Miss. Since I have them at 7 because they lost to Georgia, and then Bama beat Georgia, so I have them at the bottom of all that. 6, I have Georgia, and then 5, I have Bama, and then 4, I have Texas Tech, and you very well could put Bama at the 4 seed, especially if they only lose the SEC championship game. But if Tech keeps winning out, they keep dominating teams, I think them winning the Big 12, that it justifies them being the 4 seed. And then at 3, I have the loser of the Big 10 championship game, Indiana. I have them just dropping 1 and swapping with A&M, and then Ohio State first.
Nick, would it surprise you to know that ours are very, very similar?
I assume so.
Very similar. So I guess I'm gonna say I don't hate yours at all because mine is very similar. I think yours is a very good possibility. Now I did create two.
We're
did
getting
send
to
you
that
one
point
of them.
though. Like
We are
there's
getting to
only
kind of
18 teams you could really
Yeah,
pick.
yeah. Um, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say what I think is slightly more likely, and then I'm going to tell you where the difference would be. So, my conference championship game winners are the same as yours, except for the group of 5. We have Ohio State. I have them beating Indiana. I have A&M beating Bama. I got Georgia Tech. Now question mark on who they beat, but I think it's clear that they win. Texas Tech beating BYU. And then I have JMU. Now the reason I have JMU,
yes,
and I think
they're good.
I think this is really going to come down to which one you value more, because USF has a Power 4 win, but they also have a Group of 5 loss. JMU does not have the Power 4 win, but they are undefeated in Group of 5 play. So I think it's going to depend on if you value that big win or not losing more. I went back and forth for a while, but I thought if JMU is undefeated in Group of 5 play, they'd probably get in. Or at least I would say, hey, that's, you know what, USF, you shouldn't have lost a game, you should have won if you want to get to the playoffs. So,
yeah.
Starting at 12, JMU, obviously, they're the 12th seed. And we should also say that there is no more requirement for the top 4, the top 4 conference champions to be the first round bye. It's just the top 4 that are first round byes now. So whether they're conference champions or not, meaning you could have, like Nick said, Ohio State and Indiana both get that bye. So then at 11, I got BYU. I think that they'll get in if they lose to Texas Tech, but I don't think they'll be ranked. I think they'll be the lowest ranked team. And then at 10, I have Notre Dame sneaking in. Now I'm saying sneaking in. We all know they're going to go in. I think they put them at 10 though. They have a loss to Miami and a loss to A&M. And then at 9, Oregon. And that's assuming that Oregon does beat USC. And I'll get into that in a minute. 8, Georgia Tech. I think they are not respected in the ACC, and I think that they become an 8 seed. Then at 7, I do have Texas sneaking in. And that's because obviously the ACC doesn't get a second team in my situation, so I think they throw an extra SEC team in. And I think that Texas will beat Georgia this week. Spoiler alert. But then at 6, Bama. 5, Indiana. 4, Texas Tech. 3, Ole Miss. 2, A&M. And then 1, Ohio State. I think that, if what we said happened, if Texas does beat Georgia, I think that's a very fair ranking, and Oregon beats USC. Now, I do think, though, that the USC-Oregon game, the winner of that game, assuming they win the rest of them, makes it in. And the loser does not. So in that case, what I did is I put USC at 10 and Notre Dame at 9 because Notre Dame has the head-to-head win. So that's the only difference in mine. But like I said, very similar. I wouldn't be shocked if either of ours is what happens. And yeah, I don't think there's like you said, we're at that point. All roads are kind of converging on the possibilities. You're going through these games going, okay, this team is, you look at Ole Miss this week. Well, they're not losing to the Citadel. Like, you kind of start to get these, we know a lot now this late into the season. So that's I think both of ours are fairly accurate. I don't think you can really change a whole lot on those.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, then with that was fun. We're gonna do a bracket every week, and then some weeks are gonna be the same because nothing's changing. But we should have some changes. Let's get into some picks then. Shorter episode today. It's looking at the time. Looks like it's going to be a shorter episode today. We could talk for the next 25 minutes. Who knows? So I got, starting off, I love doing the Friday night games first. Those are actually have been this year one of my favorite games. Nick, you know that I work late, but I do have a TV right in front of my desk. and I sit there with the TV on like this in my chair just watching these games. So just kidding if you're my boss and you heard that. I'm joking. I'm joshing. I don't do that. I'm very focused. Um, no, that's my favorite game. One of my favorite games, though. I love those Fridays. And we got Clemson going into Louisville.
So I have Louisville winning in a very close game. Very close.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I think Louisville will win. I think Clemson is pretty down. I don't think they're gonna. I mean, they're not doing much of anything this year. We've seen that they have some bad losses. They lost to Syracuse. Louisville, like I said, Moss. If Miller can just game manage, Louisville's in being a good spot. I don't think that there needs to be much explaining on that. I do think it'll be a very close game, but I do think Louisville ultimately will come out ahead.
I think it could
Also,
be low scoring too.
yeah, I can see it being low scoring. Like I said, neither team's offense has like impressed me whatsoever. But I think it's going to be one of those weird Friday night ACC games where it comes down to going into the ACC replay booth. Which, by the way, that is the coolest thing. Every conference should implement that. Yes, it does kind of ruin the suspense on a big call because you know what they're going to call, and you get to hear their reasoning, and it makes it so much better knowing what their reasoning is. Like
it's kind of like what the XFL did.
Yeah, the XFL, props to The Rock. The XFL did do it first, and so we got to give credit where credit is due, but that is a phenomenal idea. Every conference should implement this. It would 100% get rid of those questionable, does the SEC rig games or give favorable calls to their teams that have the highest chance to make the playoffs. So absolutely should do that. Also in the ACC, this is back on to Saturday though, we got Virginia at Duke.
Yeah, and I mean, to most people, this probably wouldn't look like a big game, but both teams got one loss. Even though Duke's 5-4, they only have one loss in the ACC. Mensa's really good at quarterback. They can score points. Their defense has kind of been the issue. Virginia doesn't have their starting quarterback. I got Duke in a high-scoring game.
I see. I agree with everything you said until that last part. See, I looked up and I saw this little colored hoodie here, and I cannot pick Duke to win anything. Obviously, as a North Carolina basketball fan, did get to see them in the Sweet 16 a few years ago. Tars up. And obviously they're not playing. I'm not picking Duke to win a game. I'm picking Virginia.
I feel.
Now this one though, I am going to contradict myself. We got Notre Dame at Pitt.
So I want to take Pitt. The Pitt's been undefeated with I think it's Heinsteidel or something like that at quarterback. The true freshman has been so good. Their offense has been elite, but I'm just going to take Notre Dame. Notre Dame's just more physical, better defense. I feel like they'll give the kids some trouble, even though they're on the road.
I agree. I again agree with that. I want Pitt. I will be rooting for Pitt. I will give up our quality loss if it means Notre Dame gets 3 losses and doesn't make the playoffs. I, though, do not see a conceivable way that Pitt wins this game. I do think it'll be somewhat close. I don't think anything more than 10 points. And Pitt may have a chance towards the end of the game, one of those, hey, we got to go down and score and then kick an onside kick type of situations. But I got Notre Dame winning that game, unfortunately. And I put this next one I put on now. I think we're going to pick the same team. But I just wanted to talk about it because Michigan is going and playing Northwestern. Now, Northwestern is from Chicago. They've been upgrading their stadium, so they've had this really cool lakefront stadium. It has like 10 rows of seats on the sidelines and then like 50 rows of seats up each end zone, right on the lake. Beautiful views, weird-looking stadium, but they are officially getting rid of that. They played their last game there, and their new stadium will be open next year. So what are they doing these next 2 weeks? They are playing at Wrigley Field. And Wrigley Field football is the coolest thing because there's no space between the end zone and one of the brick walls outfield that's covered in ivy, since they don't use padding. So both teams have to go the same way all game. unless they have since changed the field dimension somehow. But last I looked, that's what they have to do. It's awesome. It's awesome seeing a football game at Wrigley Field. Wrigley Field is undeniably one of the best stadiums. If you're not, if you're looking at how nice things are, the tradition of it. I just love this. I just want to see this game at Wrigley Field, so I will definitely be trying to watch it. Now, obviously, I will be at the USC Iowa game, but I will definitely be trying to watch this game as much as possible. Do we need to pick this game, or should we just talk about it?
Yeah. I mean, I know we both have Michigan in a blowout
You both
win.
have Michigan.
Kind of similar fashion that USC
Similar
did.
fashion to, Michigan wins this game. I just want to talk about football being played at Wrigley Field because that is freaking cool, and that is American. You're playing a football game on a baseball field. I love it. In fact, I think, go off on a little tangent here, at least one team in the NFL should be required to play on a football field with a baseball infield like the Raiders did. I think it should be one team's required to do that. And then with baseball, I think one team should be required to have the turf filled with the grass infield and just a pocket of dirt around the bases. I think one team should be required to do that, like the Blue Jays and the Twins used to have. Just one team. I don't want it to be my team, but I want to look at that every once in a while and think, man, that's really cool. I like that. That's a cool look.
I guess.
Then we got down. This I think is a huge game here. Let me say, I think this is a huge game here. I think this is going to be a very close game. We got Oklahoma going into Bryant-Denny to take on the Tide.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma got Mateer. Mateer's getting healthier. That defense is good. And, I mean, I think Oklahoma's getting better by the week, but I'm taking Bama in a close game.
I'm doing the opposite. I think Oklahoma is looking good. They looked really good before Mateer gets hurt. Mateer got hurt, and he is looking better and better and better each week. He is looking like pre-injury Mateer. OU is also coming off of a bye week, and they've had some time to prepare for Bama. Bama obviously was preparing for the battle for Nick Saban against LSU this week, or last week. So they only get 1 week to prepare. So you take those two. Mateer's looking healthy. Oklahoma's played really good. They had a good defense, and they have 2 weeks to prepare for Bama. I like OU in this game. I really do. I think OU has a chance to finally. Bama has played some very close games against teams that they probably should have been beating by a lot more. So I think Oklahoma takes this game.
Yeah, I think Ty Simpson will do enough. I think he's a dog. He'll do enough.
He is a game manager. Ty Simpson is a game manager.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. And I do want to say that is not a bad thing. Tom Brady was a game manager. Tom Brady he reminds me of a slightly better J.J. McCarthy. Not Tom Brady. Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson reminds me of a slightly better. I can see the parallels with the Michigan thing. Ty Simpson reminds me of a slightly better J.J. McCarthy. I don't think I think he could have the talent if they let him, but he hasn't done anything to show me that he's not a game manager. And their run game is starting to look atrocious. Jam Miller's not looking as good as we thought. So I like Oklahoma. I think Mateer can sling the ball, and they have a great defense. I think they win this game. But unfortunately, Nick, that is at the same time as Iowa at USC. So I will not be able to watch any of that game. So I will definitely be checking for updates every 5 minutes or so when the guy comes out with the stick that has a countdown, which signals to us that we are on a commercial break. By the way, the commercial kickoff commercial sequence,
so annoying.
Brutal in person. You see that guy come out, you're like, gosh, all right, another commercial. So you sit there and there's nothing. There's like the stupid in-game entertainment they have going on. You're like, I just want to watch football. Cool. Kickoff team comes running back out. You're hyped, you're ready to go. Touchback. Dude comes running out with the stick again. And it is the most annoying thing in person. Now, it did actually come in clutch one time because I did have to pee mid-quarter. Ran to the bathroom, ran back.
It's like a 5-6 minute break.
Yeah, so I got some time. I didn't miss anything. But unfortunately, we won't be able to watch. That is when I'll be checking for those. I will not be able to watch that game. I think it's very self-evident who we're both going to take in this game.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very close though, very low scoring. Iowa keeps
I
everything low scoring.
I do think it'll be close. I think it'll be more or higher scoring than the Oregon game, but I think it'll be close. A one possession game. Um,
Yeah.
I think this is a game that we will see how good our run game truly is, and we will see if Iowa can take a game over and play good enough to get the win instead of playing good while they are doing good. Um, so far, the tape on that shows he may not. He may fall under pressure a little bit. He may cave under
Yep.
pressure. He didn't have a good game against Nebraska. Now he did finally use his legs in that game. So I think that USC can definitely pull it off. I just think they need a good game. And I think Iowa will need to have a good game. And then I will be going straight somewhere to watch this game, and that's Texas at Georgia. That's a good game.
Hell yeah.
That is a really good game.
Yeah, and I know you've already talked about it, but I'm taking Georgia just because Georgia's at home. Taking a very
Yeah, I
close game
mean
too.
that's fair. My two things on this one. Georgia has played in closer games than Alabama has. They have somehow won a lot of games. They've had some very favorable calls go their way, which is worth mentioning. The timeout, the clap, um, things like that. There's been a lot of very weird things. Georgia is this is the worst Georgia team we've seen in a while, in my opinion. They just keep finding ways to win.
Hmm.
Um, and while that can definitely help when you match up against a team of equal talent that is just used to winning, they might actually be more talented. And that's where I think Texas is. I think Texas finally figured things out. Arch is finally looking good again. Sark is calling really good plays for him. Um, they're coming off a bye week as well, where Georgia isn't. I think Texas takes this game.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. Arch just has to play well.
I think the question is, which Arch do you get? I
Yep.
do think that if we get Arch like he played against Ohio State, they're not winning this game. But we got to remember, Texas also has a great defense, and Georgia doesn't have a great offense. So I think that will
Hmm.
definitely play a part in that. But Nick, that is all I got down. Is there anything else you want to add on any notes or thoughts you got?
No.
All right, then that is it for this week. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, all of that on the social media platforms. Helps the show grow. Obviously, the bigger the show gets, the more we can do this, the more content we can give you guys, which is ultimately what we want to do. So, TikTok, like I said, Trojan Bias on TikTok is where everything is being posted right now. Same thing on YouTube, Instagram. Nick, I know Nick. I do have Nick. If you're watching a YouTube video of this, I do have Nick's name. Or Nick's, I should say Nick's handle down here. Nick, throw your TikTok handle out.
Ooh, I don't even know what my
Oh,
TikTok
I
handle is.
actually do know it, and the reason I know it is because I had a stroke trying to read it. It is at Nick Haskell with four L's,
Yep.
and I couldn't figure out when I was trying to put it on the screen last time if that was four or five L's, and I almost had a stroke trying to figure it out. So
Yeah, dude, I made that TikTok handle like 5 years ago
there you
and
go.
just stuck with it. I might have to change it.
Yeah, no, no, we can't change it this week. We already got the name tag on.
Yep.
So, all right, make sure to like, follow, all of that stuff. Get the show growing bigger. We wanna be able to do this more often. Maybe jump up to 2 episodes a week. Nothing crazy right now, but really want to get more content flowing for you guys. But yeah, with that, we will see you guys next week and fight on.